Hello and welcome to the She is Tech podcast. This is a space for growth, inspiration, and change. Here we talk to women in tech about things that matter: career and life, leadership and motherhood, breaking barriers, and making breakthroughs. This podcast is brought to you by Intellias. I'm Julia Hamburg, and as we approach the end of the year, it feels like the right moment to pause and reflect. Beyond our goals and deadlines, how often do we stop to think about our own well being and how much it truly shapes the way we work, lead, and grow? In this episode, I'm joined by Iryna Karankovska, Head of Planning and Execution at Intellias, a people first leader with nearly 2 decades of experience helping teams unlock their potential. Together, we will explore the invisible barriers women face when their health is underestimated and what it really takes to care for ourselves without losing sight of our ambitions. So, let's dive in. Irina, I'm really happy to have you here in this podcast episode. And before we dive into the core topic, I would love to introduce you properly, to our listeners. So, as I mentioned, you're a head of planning and execution at Intellias. Also, you're a people first leader and a woman balancing a high impact career. So, please tell us, how would you describe yourself today, both at work and outside of it?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be a part of this conversation, especially on such an important topic. Professionally, I've had quite a dynamic journey. My academic background is mathematics and finance, and I started out as a university lecturer. After that, I made a big shift into the corporate world, working in quality assurance at Procter& and Gamble and later at Nestle in manufacturing environments. Over time, I moved into the IT industry and built my career from business analyst to product and program manager, delivery leader, customer success director, and now I work as head of planning and execution in Intellias. But beyond the titles and roles, what truly drives me is building strong teams and helping people grow. I led teams up to 150 people, and I always find the greatest fulfillment in seeing others thrive. That's been the consistent thread through my career, no matter industry or role. Most of my professional life has been in male dominated environments, whether in STEM or in factory or in IT. And that shaped me in many ways, but it also made me realize how much pressure women can face to constantly perform and prove themselves. And often in that race, we forgot to take care of our own well being. Over the years, I've come to understanding just how essential our health and energy are, not just for staying productive, but for truly enjoying what we do and being able to lead in a sustainable way. This topic is very personal to me because I've seen how easy it is to overlook your own needs when you are driven, ambitious, and juggling a lot, and how important it is to change it.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, I hear that you have your own background and you've spent a significant amount of time observing, talent and growth and careers. So, could you please recall, this kind of watershed moment when, I don't know, maybe it was a personal moment or when you were leading a team, the moment that fundamentally shifted your perspective on how deeply women's specific well-being challenges impact their performance and trajectory. So, when have you understood that it is a crucial topic to pay a lot more attention to?
Oh, yeah, that is such an important question and one that became very real to me at a certain point of life. Uh, Unfortunately, it was like my deep personal tragedy. And For a long time, I believed that hard work, discipline, and showing up no matter what were the foundation of success. And I pushed myself the same way many women do. I kept going even when my body was clearly asking for help. I thought that slowing down meant failing. I thought that asking for support meant weakness. And unfortunately, then life hit me in a way I never expected. I went through an ectopic pregnancy and it completely broke me. Like physically, I was exhausted. Emotionally, I felt devastated. And at that time, therapy was not common or easily accessible, so I carried everything alone. And while I was trying to heal, I was also preparing for the most important quality audit in my career. I kept telling myself to push through, to stay strong, to be reliable and resilient. But truth is, I burned myself to the edge. I could not recover. I could not come back to normal work. And the only solution I could see was to leave a very successful career simply because I was a woman dealing with a very real health challenge and I felt I have no space to pause or breathe. I was scared to ask for time. I was scared to say I was not okay. So instead of receiving support, I disappeared silently. And I know I'm not the only one. So many women go through health challenges quietly. They push through pain that is dismissed. They carry emotional loads that no one sees. They fear that being honest about their well being will cost them opportunities or respect. This experience changed the way I look at well being. It made me understand how deeply women's health affects not only how we perform, but how we see ourselves, how confident we feel, and whether we believe we have the right to slow down. And it made me much more aware of how important it is to create environments where women don't have to hide their struggles just to be seen as strong.
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for telling this story, sharing this story, being brave to share it. And it's really important, I think, for our listeners, for other women to hear such stories because they often help us to look, broader. And to see the broader landscape of the issue, in our case, women well-being. So thank you for that, first of all. And yeah, let's dive deeper into this important topic. So when we narrow in on women's health in the context of demanding career, the something that you've described, what are the most significant issues that you believe are still widely underestimated or misunderstood, perhaps even by women who are otherwise high achieved?
If I have to tell it in one sentence, it's okay to be not okay. But let's extend this a bit. As for me, like one of the biggest issues is how often, as women, we dismiss our own symptoms or pain, and how easily we accept that discomfort is just part of our life. We've been conditioned to push through, to label everything as stress, hormonal, just tired, without recognizing when our bodies are signaling something much deeper. Many women normalize things like chronic fatigue, irregular cycles, endometriosis pain, perimenopause symptoms like constant headaches, without digging into the real causes of it. We tend to minimize our suffering until it becomes unbearable. And that often leads to delayed diagnosis or long term complications. Another area that's still vastly underestimated is how interconnected our physical health is with our mental and emotional well being. When you're in pain, when your hormones are out of balance, when you're going through something like fertility treatment or pregnancy loss, it doesn't just affect your body, it affects your confidence, your focus, the way how you communicate, how you show up at work, and how much energy you have for your own growth. And I think it's not just about lack of awareness, it's also about shame. Many women don't feel safe or supported enough to speak up about these experiences, especially in professional environments. So they suffer in silence, which adds another layer of stress and pressure. And that's why we need more open, honest conversations so we stop accepting pain as normal and start seeing women's health for what it really is. It's a foundation for a fulfilling career in life.
Yeah, taking that advice a step further, because I really think that in this conversation, I feel that uh, each of your answers can contain the advice or at least an important reminder for each of our listeners. So, if you could give every ambitious woman in tech one non negotiable area to check in on, what should be they paying much closer attention to when accessing their health, their energy, and maybe overall sustainability?
Oh, that's really great question. And I believe the first thing we need to pay closer attention is our own signals, both physical and emotional. Often women are so used to multitasking and pushing forward that they stop noticing early signals of burnout, chronic fatigue, hormonal imbalance, or mental overload. We tend to delay rest and recovery until like we earn it. But health doesn't wait for us to find a free slot in our calendar. Paying attention to energy level, not just time, is essential. You may have the time to do something, but if your energy is completely depleted, the task will cost you more than it gives back. And that applies to work, to parenting, to leadership. And another thing I want to highlight is the importance of regular checkups and not ignoring small, consistent symptoms, like from pain during periods to ongoing sleep issues to mood swings. They are not just hormones, they can be early signs of deeper issues that deserves proper attention. And lastly, we need to start treating our energy as a strategic resource. It's not selfish to rest. It's smart. When your energy is in balance, you lead better, you think sharper, and show up more fully, not just for work, but for yourself and the people who rely on you. The earlier we learn to check in with ourselves, the less likely we are to hit a full blown crisis. Health should never be something we attend to only when everything else is done. It should be a part and foundation that we build for our careers and lives on.
Yeah, thank you. And I also think that another major problem that we need to address, and you also mentioned it earlier, is the issue of dismissal. Because we all heard or experienced this dismissive phrase, it's just stress, it's just stress, and this is the cause of everything. So could you please share any examples or perhaps patterns that you've observed that were this kind of medical dismissal and has significantly altered how women engages, leads, or shows up in her professional role?
Oh, I wish I could have, like, oh no, everything is good. But unfortunately, I've seen and heard some of the worst form of dismissal. And like, I heard it so many times from others that it's rooted in my mind that I've started hearing it from myself too. And you know that phrases that stick with you, that you internalize so deeply, and you start repeating them in your head. Yeah, like exactly as you told. It's just stress, it's just hormones, it's probably nothing. And I used to say it all the time too for myself. And for over 2 decades, I believed it. Right. Every month, I told myself the same story: the cramps, the fatigue, the exhaustion. Oh, that's just a part of being a woman, right? And you deal with it, you push through, you don't make a fuss. And it wasn't until I hit the wall, physically and emotionally, that I finally stopped and asked myself, what if isn't normal? And after rigorous checkups and finally finding the right doctor, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. I lived with it for almost 25 years. That is 25 years of normalizing pain that wasn't normal. It affected everything: my energy, my mood, my ability to focus at work, my confidence, even how I showed up for others. And yet, I kept it quiet. Because we're often taught that health issues, especially women's health issues, are something to power through, not to talk about. Once I started treatment, the change was unbelievable. I had energy again, mental clarity, a sense of control I haven't felt in years. And it made me realize how many of us are silently suffering because we don't feel seen, heard, or taken seriously. And I would like to share some statistics and interesting facts with you. It's really getting me frustrating and sometimes even infuriating because endometriosis affects 1 in 10 women of reproductive age worldwide. That's hundreds of millions of women. And yet it takes on average 7 to 10 years to get a proper diagnosis. Like in my case, it was much longer. That's a decade of pain, misdiagnosis, and being told, oh, it's just stress. And while we still don't have a cure, limited treatment options, and underfunded research, you know what we do have? A peer reviewed study analyzing whether women with endometriosis are perceived as more attractive by strangers. Yes, really, that happened. Funding went into that. It's absurd. Women are losing workday, opportunities, and quality of life, and research money is being spent measuring their looks. That tells you everything about how skewed the priorities are. Why I'm sharing all of this? Because we need to stop whispering about pain and start having louder conversations. If something feels wrong, trust yourself. Don't wait for permission. Don't downplay it. Push for answers. And from a career perspective, this is essential because when you're unwell, it shows up in your performance, your presence, and your confidence. Health isn't a separate issue, it's the foundation of everything you do. You don't owe anyone silence. You don't need to suffer to prove your strengths. And you absolutely deserve to live and lead from a place of health, not survival.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually thinking that this example you showed regarding this research shows which approach in general do we have to this issue, like women health related issues, not just on personal level or corporate level, but in society in general, like the level of seriosity that we are approaching this issue with. So a lot of work needs to be done in the future. Yeah, but thank you for highlighting it. And I would like us to move a bit from the personal to the corporate side, because corporate well being is often gender neutral in the companies. But women's needs, from hormonal health to reproductive care, are really different. So, in your expert view, what is the most critical piece missing from the majority of today's corporate well-being strategies?
Oh, yeah, it's a very interesting question because Currently, well being has become like a real buzzword in corporate strategies. And mostly we hear something about like meditation apps, the yoga classes, gym discounts. And don't get me wrong, because that's all great. But if we're being honest, those are like surface level solutions. And what really missing is the gender lens. Women don't just need stress management tips. We need support that acknowledges our actual life experience biologically, emotionally, socially. For example, let's talk hormones. They are not some niche medical things. They influence everything our energy, our concentration, our sleep, even how we handle risk or pressure. But how often is that part of a corporate well being conversation? Like, hardly ever. And I've seen it myself. Things like EMS, fertility treatment, or postpartum recovery are considered like private struggles. And meanwhile, performance reviews still happening, KPIs are still expected. And there is a total mismatch in expectations and empathy. Then there is the mental load. So many women I know are not just doing their jobs, they are caregiving, planning, organizing, supporting everyone around them. That invisible emotional labor, it adds up. And very few wellness programs even acknowledge it. And here are the things. Even when supports exist, women often don't feel safe using it. I've heard stories and lived a few where people were afraid to disclose health issues because they thought it would affect their promotion chances or be seen as less committed. That's not a well being strategy, that's a silent crisis. So, what's missing? Real gender aware care, like menstrual and menopause flexibility, fertility and miscarriage leave endometriosis and PCOS coverage, mental health support designed for emotional labor, safe, confident space to talk about it all. And companies don't need to reinvent the wheel, just start by educating managers, building inclusive policies, and showing that it's okay to bring your whole self to work, not just your high performing version. Because when we support women's health, we are not just being kind, we are being strategic. We are protecting talent, fueling creativity, and building cultures where people can actually thrive.
Actually, when we are talking about tech industry, the industry that we and most of our listeners, I think so, work in, everyone knows that tech industry is really fast paced nowadays and very outcome driven. And I think that this specific industry culture sometimes create, this invisible pressure, and especially for women, to avoid showing up, avoid seeking help, or even understanding health issues truly present. So let's discuss, is it correct? And how do you think we should live in such conditions? Because I'm not sure if we should, work opposed them to fight them, but maybe we can somehow change them.
Absolutely. I've seen it and live it time and time again. And tech is very demanding and very outcome driven. The bar is always rising, deadlines are tight, and the culture often celebrates overwork as a badge of honor. When you're in that environment, especially as a woman surrounded by mostly male colleagues, it becomes even harder to pause, admit you're not okay, or ask for support. In my case, I worked mostly of my career in male-dominated industry, mathematics, heavy manufacturing, and then IT. And while I've had incredible colleagues and leaders, the culture tone was very much be strong, push through, don't complain. And as a woman, you internalize that message deeply. You start believing that showing vulnerability means showing weaknesses. So even if you are in pain, exhausted, or dealing with serious health issue, you tell yourself, it's nothing, it's just hormones, just stress, oh, I'll get over it. But that mindset is dangerous. It almost broke me once. I kept pushing, ignoring the signals my body was sending until I couldn't anymore. And the hardest part wasn't the pain, it was the shame I felt for needing to stop. That what this culture does sometimes. It trains women to minimize their needs in order to prove they belong. But the truth is, slowing down, asking for help, or taking care of your health, it's not a weakness. It's leadership, it's self respect. And the more we normalize that, the healthier and more productive our workplaces will be for everyone.
Yeah, it's really important thought, and thank you for saying it out loud. Thank you for being an ambassador of such approach. Because the more thoughts like this we have in our companies, the more chances that we will have more balance and more different point of views and different approaches in our companies in the future. So thank you for that. And I also really liked your idea that it's not just a personal responsibility, but also managers play a huge role in here. So let's maybe help them a bit. What one or two small, practical, but pretty much realistic steps you can advise managers to implement, for example, this week, to try to normalize conversations around health, energy, work sustainability within their teams?
Oh, I love this question. And I think the key here is that we don't need massive programs to make a difference. It starts with really small, everyday things. What I've seen over the years is that culture isn't shaped by posters or platforms. It's shaped by how we behave in meetings, in our work chats, in those one on ones, and managers. We have so much power to create either safety or pressure in those spaces. For example, one of the simplest things a manager can do is just talk about energy, like your own energy. Say something like, oh, you know what? I didn't sleep well and I'm not in my best today. Or I'm taking a break after this meeting to recharge. That gives your team silent permission to do the same, to be human. And then instead of jumping straight into KPIs during check ins, just start with how's your energy this week? Or what's been draining or supporting you lately? These little questions go a long way. I've also seen how powerful it is when managers acknowledge gender specific needs, even without needing all the details. Just letting your team know if you're ever going through something health related and need flexibility, let's talk about what support looks like for you. That's huge, especially for women dealing with things like endometriosis, fertility treatments, menopause. They often carry those things silently at work. And finally, we've got to stop glorifying burnout. Rest should be celebrated just as much as hustle. If someone sets a boundary or takes time to recover, let's acknowledge that as strength, not weakness. These aren't big things, but when they're done consistently, they create a culture where people feel safe. And when people feel safe, they do their best work. It's not about being a therapist, it's just about being a human and something that all of us can lead with.
Thank you, Rina. I hear a lot of personal experience and personal context in your recommendations and in your answers, and I would like to dig a bit deeper and more into this topic, into your personal experience, because you've also mentioned that. Once you've started to prioritize your well-being more, and you also had such issues that you went through, but still you manage a lot. Now you're leading some complex projects and large teams, so please share how are you doing it right now. So maybe you have some effective anchor or practices that help you to stay grounded, to balance your well-being with your work, and to maintain your energy levels high.
I wish I could have some tips or tricks or shortcuts, but to be honest, it took me a really long time and I had to learn it in a hard way. Like for years, I was the classic overachiever, like as you told, leading multiple projects, jumping across time zones, taking on more than I probably should have, and all while telling myself, just push a little more. And at some point, it backfired. I hit a wall hard. I was exhausted, drained, disconnected, like from the work, from people, like from my family, even from myself. And unfortunately, I didn't know how to stop until I broke. So, what helps me now? It's not some shiny productive hack, it's something much more personal and much more real. I finally started to respect my own limits. I learned to set clear boundaries, not just with others, but with myself. I stopped trying to power through every challenge and started working at my own pace. I accepted that my energy is not infinite and that's okay. I started saying no more often and stopped apologizing for it. And yes, maybe it sounds like a cliche, but for the last 3, 4 years, I've been doing regular full body checkups every year. Blood work, all the specialists, vitamins, supplements, the whole thing. It gives me a baseline, a sense of control. Like I'm taking care of myself, not just my responsibilities. And while I know I could be better with physical activity, that's still a work in progress. I do what I can. But here is the thing no one talks about enough. It's not just about you, it's also about the environment. What helped me most, like truly, it was being in the right company culture with the right manager and doing the right kind of work. You can have the best routines and still burn out if you're in a place that doesn't respect human limits. So now I pay a close attention to that too. And if I have to sum it up, staying grounded isn't just about managing your time, it's about managing your energy, your values, and your environment. And that realization changed everything for me.
Yeah, thank you. We've heard a great your person example. So like you're a role model, for people, for women who would like to balance their life, maybe to make some short break, review their work routine, decide what's better for them, find their own limits and boundaries and maintain them. But also, let's not forget that actually a lot of us, we have some career ambitions and we wouldn't like to cancel them, forget about them, etc. So maybe you would like to give one more piece of advice or some kind of recommendation, or maybe some thought that you would like our listeners to hear from you today as we are wrapping up our today's and summarizing our today's conversation?
Yeah, that's a great question. And all the things I'm sharing today, it's not just for you to be sorry or pity for me, but to understand that like a lot of women are going through similar things. And the first of all, I always come back to this simple airplane rule: put your own mask on first. And I know we hear it so often that it sounds almost cliche, but there is so much truth in it. You cannot lead, create, or take care of anyone, not your team, not your family, not your ambitions, if you're running on empty. Your well being is not a luxury, it's your foundation. And I want every woman to remember this. You deserve to feel well. You deserve to be heard. You deserve care. Your body is not an inconvenience. Your pain is not a weakness. Your health is not something you need to apologize for. If something feels wrong, trust yourself. Don't wait for someone else to validate your experience. Don't let anyone tell you it's just stress, just hormones, or just a bad week. Quiet discomfort doesn't make you strong. Taking actions does. And taking actions can be simple, like start with the basics. Do your annual checkups. Run your blood work. Check your thyroid, iron, and vitamin D levels. Track your cycle and how you feel during it. Rest without guilt. Move your body because you can, not because you must. Nourish yourself like someone you care deeply about, because you are. And from a career perspective, it's important too. Protecting your well being is not stepping back, it's what allows you to step forward with clarity, with confidence, and energy. When you take care of yourself, your career doesn't slow down, your career becomes sustainable. And I want to say one more thing. If you feel unseen or unheard, please remember you are not alone. So many women have been exactly where you are. I was there too. And the moment you start advocating for yourself, even in the smallest way, things begin to shift. Your health and your ambitions are not opposite sides of a scale. They support each other. And you have every right to be alive where both can thrive.
Yeah, thank you, Irina. It's such an important thought. And I think that this conversation is such on time as the year ends and we all have, our own deadlines and this feeling of exhaustion. But at the same time, we are waiting for some kind of, Christmas miracle. And we are eager to find that, festive mood, but still things might have been rough at the end of the year. And I think such a supportive conversation as we had today is really important to hear and to have. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your experience, sharing your vulnerability, sharing your strong sides as well, and showing that, yeah, we women are all different, but pretty often we have similar or maybe even like the same issues and challenges we are going through. And knowing even that one fact helps to overcome those challenges a lot easier. So, thank you for such an inspiring and supportive conversation.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Julia. It was a great pleasure. And even if only one woman after this podcast will change the way of their life, will take care of her health or just do the like next checkup, it will be already a great success to like sharing this.
Thanks for tuning in to the She is Tech. May Iryna's reflections remind you to listen to your body, protect your energy, and make space for health alongside ambition. As we wrap up this year, let's carry that awareness into the next, because taking care of ourselves is part of how we grow, lead, and make lasting impact. We'll be back in 2026 with more honest conversations with women in tech, their stories, and the lessons that move us all forward. Our mission is to unite and inspire women in tech. Be part of our community by following the She is Tech LinkedIn page. Just follow the link in the episode description. You can also share this episode to help us amplify women's voices. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got more interesting conversations coming. Until next time, take care and keep striving for change.